So what is it like to be a real estate agent on a Friday or run a real estate agent team? So I'm going to talk about that. Now, this is a follow-up to yesterday that I did in my car. Now, just know while I'm recording this, it is 4:30 a.m. That's why I'm not in my car yet. I'm just at my office. I just happened to wake up early. But anyhow, yesterday we talked about what we're doing at the Homes by Cusi team on that day, which is called Baking the Cake. If you saw that, in want a quick recap, or if you didn't see it, it's basically that you have a bunch of ingredients of how you bake a cake. So you have the ingredients, but you don't know exactly what order you put them in the pan. Or do you chop them? Do you slice them? Do you mash them? What do you do with these particular ingredients to make your perfect cake? And at what temperature do you cook it? You get it. So what I wanted to do yesterday was like, I laid out all the different ways that you can generate business inside of real estate. And we laid out the activities. It's called the Rule of 100. It's actually my workbook up there, the Coach by Cusi workbook, the gray blackish one. Right there. Boom. Does it unblur? Yeah, a little bit. That's the one. So we pretty much went through that and some other things. It's like, hey, if you do these combination of activities, this is how you work your way to the goals that you set for yourself. And that's how you bake that cake. All right. And because of that video I did yesterday, there was 3 real estate agents that reached out to me, and which is very humbling, by the way. And they had their concerns about what's going on with their careers, which is very common, by the way. So these real estate agents reached out and they want to know how I baked my cake. And I told them, and I'll tell anyone who just calls, it's fine. The thing I really wanted to talk about is that if you're not a real estate agent and you're watching this, and let's say you happen to see other real estate agents, like social media content and stuff, it seems like it could be like a really glamorous thing. And a lot of people fall into that trap of getting a real estate license and just believing what they're seeing on social media as that's the real world stuff. And if you are a real estate agent, been for a little bit, you know that's not how these things really go. In order for you to get to all those fun and exciting things like the listing videos or the brokers open or any of the fun stuff that you happen to see, you would either have to latch on to someone who accomplished a goal to obtaining that business to do that thing, or you have to do a lot of work and get a lot of no's and a lot of doors slammed in your face and have a lot of heartache to get to that thing. That's just the reality of it. And that's why it's such a big dropout rate with real estate agents. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but roughly speaking, it's around like 82 to people who get their real estate license are not practicing by the end of the first year. And it's between 94 and 96% of people who got their real estate license who are actually even doing the business at all by their 5th year. And the reality of it is, because if it were just as easy as what you perceive something to be on social media, then every person who got their real estate license would have such an easy time obtaining business and doing well. But the truth of the matter is that once you have if you take the average of real working real estate agents, like real ones, not the person who also has 20 other licenses and 18 other jobs. I'm talking a real estate agent. The average across the board of all of them is between 4 and 6 transactions a year. And they're making less than $60,000 a year, which is a good income for real. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying that is the average. So what happens is a lot of people get the real estate license and they fall into a trap. And I'm saying this for a reason, because the 3 people that called me yesterday based on the Bake the Cake video that I did, they all fell in 3 different traps. And the first trap is the vibe trap. So this particular person, and no worries, if you're watching this, I'm not going to give personal details, but this particular person actually used to be at my brokerage and be in my coaching program. And what she seems to be really attracted to are the vibes. With her, she would see, just like I mentioned before, all the fun stuff these other brokers are doing. She would see these videos and all this stuff. She'll see them at all these big events and thinking that that was a job. But the thing is, that's not the job. And I mentioned why before. But then one thing I didn't mention when it comes to that before is that this kind of goes in hand with people seeing other people at these great events. And when you go to these events, they're okay if you learn something at these events and then you apply it. But that's not what usually happens. People go to these events because it makes them feel like they're productive, or it gives them something to do because they don't have a cake to bake. They don't know what else to do. So they go to these big events. They see all these other agents at these events. And, oh, yeah, this agent just did a fun little listing video tour. I want to be like them and I'm going to join them. I like their vibe. But this business is not about vibes. This business is about baking your cake every morning. So I had a heart-to-heart with her. I told her what my cake was, and I gave her what I thought she should do. And let's see if she does it. The second thing, this other agent is actually a newer agent. And the common thing with a lot of newer agents is they just get all the gear. They get all the goodies. They go out and just buy all this stuff. And this guy kept buying all these like softwares and these like cameras and all these monitors and all that stuff, which does help. but that should come after you actually started making money. Like you can add to your repertoire of stuff once you start actually making the money in the business. So I told him, hey, I understand you're substituting in your mind. If I pay money, my business needs this stuff to be better. But the truth of the matter is that's just not true. You just got to bake your cake. So I had to talk with him about that. The third person was also someone who did a broker hop. And it wasn't because of vibes. It was because another thing that actually I struggled for a little bit as a team leader is that the team and the broker that he was with was adapting into these new strategies. And he did not really want to lean in that direction. That happens with people. So let me explain. When people come to you and they want to be a part of your team and you put them through a process, they have some kind of preconceived notion of what that process is going to be. And if they last long enough through it and they see what your processes are and they like those processes, then they typically would stay, especially if they're just getting by. If they're just content, they're just getting by, fine. But the thing is, in this industry, things are always moving. There's always just changes, just like every business. So I can speak from experience that when I had to make a significant change into how I ran my team in order for it to get better, so my agents and our clients can have a better experience on both sides of it, so they can just all live better lives. I've had experiences where, in multiple times in different iterations throughout the years, where people who are comfortable with the way we did things are not being too comfortable where they're going. And they would love where the end destination would be, but that traveling to on that journey to that destination is not all that exciting because there's uncertainty there, and they were pretty cool with how things were before. Lose really faith in their leader, and their perceived value of that person diminishes naturally over time. So if you're ever running a team, just know what they're attracted to you then for might not align with where you're going to have to take the business later when things adapt. And they always do, especially in real estate. It's always a moving target. That's what happened with this guy here. He just couldn't adapt to the things that were happening and their changes. And I told him, you should probably go back. And the reason why I say that is that what attracted you to that person or that team lead that you joined in the first place is the same skill set that they have now. The only difference is you couldn't see the vision that this person had, or you didn't understand it, and you didn't give it enough time to work its way out. So do that. I bet you whatever they were building, they're either a lot closer to that, and you're probably going to love it, because obviously you don't love it now because you're calling me saying that you're disgruntled at where you're at now. So that tells me that maybe you're having second thoughts about leaving. And the other thing, the person that you were attracted to do those things is always going to be that person. Even if they're made some changes and suggestions and they're not totally certain of how it looks, or because I can say that happens with me sometimes, that person is still the same person. They still have that same skill set, and not everything's always going to be perfect. So you should go back to that person, align with them, because that person has a skill set that most team owners, team leaders, or brokers don't have, because obviously that's what attracted to them in the first place when you had a lot of other options to reach out to. So that was my advice to all of them. And by the way, all three of those buckets are of those mistakes all get solved by baking the cake, by just doing your 2 to 4 hours of continuing activity of baking your cake every morning. Okay. Now I know this video is already getting pretty long, but I have another thought. You know what? I'm going to stop there. I thought this was helpful, whether you're a real estate agent or not. It's Friday. I hope you guys have a good Friday and weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
We're friendly.